Okay, welcome to the Anything Goes Hokkaido audio and video podcast. We are back with both co-hosts today and a very special guest who is a longtime pillar in our Hokkaido foreigners community. I'm Delana Miyazaki. My co-host is
Shinya, I'm back with
back.
no problems now. I'm not
Yeah,
sure if Delana mentioned problems
internet
before,
issues.
but it was just the one day mainly. It was just that day when we supposed to have this podcast last week.
Yeah, but
And
it completely messed with our plans, and
very
our
unlucky.
guest
So
Phred Kaufman was very patient with us allowing to reschedule today.
thanks very much for
Thank you so much for your
waiting.
patience.
Yeah.
Okay, so Phred,
Yes.
Phred, so many places we could start this from, but just why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Where should we?
Where should we
start?
begin? Okay, what do you mainly do here?
Oh God. Okay, I guess running a beer company, import and distribution
Mhm.
of alcoholic beverages is my main thing, and the space I'm in right now, Beer and Movie Shoot Day, or Phred's Bar, has been here like a little over 40 years.
Yeah,
So
it's your 40th anniversary,
of
right?
the bar, yes.
Of the
But
bar, yeah.
I'm not going to do anything official until COVID's over, because I don't
Okay.
want my good customers to get together and have a good time and go home and die. So, I don't want to do anything Trumpy, So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's probably a wise move.
Mhm.
And so 40 years in business, that's real accomplishment.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh.
Long run beginner's luck, I call it.
Well, that's the kind of luck we all wish we could have. So have you always been in the same location that you're in now?
Yeah, we have the original dust on the walls.
Oh my goodness. And where is your bar located?
It's South 9 West 5. It's next to the Tokyo XL Hotel. Oh, and it's okay, no customers. I didn't think customers would come. It's the towel guy. Yeah, usually we don't have customers coming early, but I thought maybe doing this, it'll jinx customers into coming. We'll see. Anyway, yeah. So I'm immediately next to the Tokyo XL Hotel, sandwiched between that and the Seiko Mart Hombu.
Okay.
And when I started the bar, the closest hotel was the Park Hotel.
Oh, that's quite a distance compared to the other one.
There was no other hotel. Well, they were a block away, but they were the closest bar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, you've been in business more than twice as long as I've been here. Just barely.
Yeah, I was here before I started the bar, so I've been here longer than 40 years. So.
Wow. So what originally brought you to Japan from where?
Well, when I was growing up in Los Angeles, it was the 60s, and there was a lot going on, and the Vietnam War was going on, and I was pretty political. I could actually read books, not like somebody I'm thinking of who was in Washington. So, basically, I really looked into the war, because if you're going to die for something, it should be a good reason. And I figured out it was a really bad reason. And therefore, I decided to get out of Dodge. And hey, it is working. We have customers. Thank you. So anyway, when I was 16 years old, I was in a little coffee shop in Amsterdam. And I will lie and say I was drinking coffee. And I met a guy who was next to me, and he was also drinking coffee. And I asked him what he was doing in Amsterdam, because he looked like a really old and wise person. And it turned out he was quite old, because I was 16 at the time. He was like 19, which was ancient. So he had come to Amsterdam, to register in Draft Board 100, which nobody to this day seems to know about. During the entire war, the number of senators and congressmen's sons that went to Vietnam and or were killed, how many do you think?
Gosh, no idea, but gonna guess not many.
like 10 without the 1 in it. Yeah.
Oh,
0.
zero.
Whoa.
Nada.
Okay.
Yeah. And the way they got around it was Washington, D.C. was the only place in America with no draft board. So no draft board, no quota.
Mhm.
And the only way you can get into draft board 100 was to be the son of a congressman or an ambassador, or live in DC, which probably would have been more dangerous than Vietnam was at the time. So I decided to go with the go abroad thing. So if you registered from a foreign country, they put you in draft board 100. And I didn't plan to go to Japan. I wanted to go back to Amsterdam, but if you go like over the Atlantic, it's sort of the short way. I decided to take the long way.
Mhm.
And I got a ticket on Pan Am. It was like $500, and it took me through like all the islands in Hawaii, and then to like Tokyo, and at the time Okinawa was still part of America, and Taiwan, and Hong Kong, and I sort of went to the Philippines, and then my plans sort of unraveled because I had planned to go all the way to India within a year. And it turns out it took me 3 years to basically get to Manila. So,
Wow.
yeah. But it was a very interesting 3 years, and I'm still alive, which is good. So, yeah, it worked out.
Definitely. And so somewhere in that travel, you ended up here in Japan.
Well, this was my first country, or
okay.
foreign country. Yeah, because when you leave Hawaii,
Mhm.
and you're, an international traveler, you wind up at Haneda International Airport. And at the
Gotcha.
time, I couldn't differentiate between Japan, China, Korea. I mean, it was all Asia, right?
Right.
Yep.
Like
So
a lot of
I got up,
Americans.
a lot of Oriental people in Asia, yeah. So I got off the plane and went through customs, and the customs guy asked me if I had any marijuana in my bag, and I thought it was sort of funny, so I laughed, and I guess that was the right thing to do, so he just told me to go ahead. And yeah, that was my first day in Japan in 1971 in June. Oh, no, wait, my birthday, make that late April, late April.
Okay.
And then I spent a half a year in Japan. And I was very lucky in is that it got very hot and humid. And being from LA, I don't do hot and humid. Like, I know some people come from Florida. I don't know how they do that. I was just born in a place, I mean, you have your Hollywood, we have our Hollywood, whatever. But okay, let's not.
No. I'm a Florida girl, but
Florida.
I can't take the humidity. The last couple of days have been.
Oh, well, in the old days, we didn't have humidity here, but what can you do? So, anywho, that's, I was going to get out of Japan because it was too humid, but everybody told me that the countries I was going to were more humid. And I thought, that's not good. So then somebody said, but there's this place called Hokkaido. And I look at the map, and it was like, I used to hitchhike between LA and San Francisco all the time. Same distance, basically, I thought. So I figured, I'll just hitchhike up there. So on July 4th, Independence Day, 1971, I put out my thumb and wound up here, basically, for the rest of the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It worked out. Yeah.
And so
Pretty, I guess, just YOLO, just go for it and see what happens. Of course, there's not that much information, I guess, not like now. So you can just, I guess, do whatever you want and see where it takes you.
So I was really lucky in is that the Winter Olympics were in 72.
Right.
So everybody really wanted to learn English, and there weren't enough gaijin to go around. So yeah, it was a really good supply-demand thing on my side. So yeah, and I was sort of like a high school dropout because I had to, bail from high school to get enough money to buy my $500 Pan Am ticket. So yeah, I was like a high school dropout, and people were calling me sensei and throwing money at me. So it was good, yeah.
Hey, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think with a lot of long-termers, when I came back in 2001, I was hearing all about the bubble era and how wonderful that was. And it sounds like you also came in at a really opportune time.
I got here. Well, the second time, I came back in '76 to go to Waseda, and the bubble was sort of really going on then. In '71, I couldn't appreciate it. It was like 360 under the dollar. But if you don't have a lot of dollars in your pocket, it really doesn't matter, does it?
So you attended Waseda University?
Yeah. Well, what happened? I went back to the States, and I took my equivalency, and eventually I became a Japanese major because it really peeved me off that when I was in Japan, I was sort of illiterate, and I looked around, and okay, the kids speak the language. People, you could just tell they're stupid by looking at them. They spoke the language, so I figured it could be done, right? Mm-hmm. So I decided to, pick up Japanese in uni, and I got sent to Waseda my fourth year as part of the Cal State program to the international division. So that was in 1976. So that was a bubble that I could appreciate a lot more.
For sure. And for people who are maybe watching or listening and are not aware what Waseda is, it's one of the top universities in Japan, and very prestigious and difficult to get in. And just hearing Waseda in Japanese culture automatically puts you up on a pedestal.
Yeah,
so, wow.
I could have gone to UCLA instead of Cal State, but their sister school was ICU. And I thought, okay, International Christian University, Waseda. Okay, I'm going to Cal State, basically, yeah.
Got it. Okay, wow. So that's quite the
it's
journey.
A very different story to actually my grandfather, because my grandfather went to the Vietnam War for the Australian Navy. So that was his plan. And then my father was one of the ones that, I guess, traveled to Japan with my mother, the girlfriend, I guess, at the time. So I guess the years difference between, I guess, going in 70s and going in the 90s is very different. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and my grandfather was in the army in Okinawa just after the previous war. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess my Japanese side of the family was in the war. Well, definitely, of course, in World War II. But I don't think, not sure about my Australian side of the family with World War II. Not sure. Not so sure about that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of history that revolves around those major pinpoints. And but yeah, it sounds like you really took a unique way to live the life you wanted to and avoid some unfortunate kind of things in that regard. So that's pretty awesome.
How did Japanese people, I guess, treat Americans in a way back at the time, back in the 70s in Japan?
Well, since my Japanese was zilch, but I even was in Okinawa for a little while on my way to Taiwan. Still probably, they were just changing they were going to be Japanese a few months down the road, so it was already decided. I never got any stuff for being an American that I could tell anyway. So I never had a problem with it.
Right. So you run your own bar and import beer business, and I've seen lots of activity from you over the years I've known you, where you're traveling. The last time we met was at the airport, right before COVID hits. You were waiting in line for an earlier flight to Osaka, and I was on my way to Tokyo, getting ready for my tour to have some rehearsals. Love how big and yet small our community is here in Hokkaido. So are you based only in Sapporo, or do you also have businesses happening in other parts of Japan?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, I live in Sapporo because it's my lifestyle choice. It's a really stupid place to live if you want to be in business. So over 90% of my merchandise is sold in Honshu and other places.
Okay.
So yeah. So living in Sapporo has nothing to do with business. It has all to do with I love Sapporo. And yeah.
That's a great plug for people who want to know why Hokkaido has podcasts happening about it and such. It's an amazing place to live.
Yeah, I mean, lifestyle is just,
Right. Yeah, but for business, I think you have a valid point that most of your big stuff is going to be happening in Honshu.
It's population. I mean, hey, they got, in the Kanto area, that's like 20 times the population of our whole island. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But I would never want to live there. So it's like, you go down there, hold your nose, go to Tokyo or whatever, do your business and come back as soon as you can, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm of a similar mind. It's nice to visit, nice to do some good business, but Hokkaido's the place to be.
Long. Definitely.
Exactly. A few days is okay.
Yeah.
Shinya likes to go play in Tokyo too, but
I don't do summers at all in Tokyo. But this year, with all the COVID stuff, my usual travel everywhere and say the customers' time was taken. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll even go in the summer. I was that desperate. And there was actually a beer festival that was supposed to be like a couple of weeks ago. It was just supposed to be ending. Thank God they canceled it. I was sort of glad they did. So, hey. Is this live, by the way?
No, this is recorded. So anything that needs to be edited.
I was going to offer a free beer for the first 5 people that came in if they got here before the podcast ended, but too bad. Okay.
Oh, that's too bad. If you want to do something like that, we can advertise it in the lead up to the broadcast next week.
Well, yeah. Let me think about it.
Yeah, think about that. Think about that.
I'll probably be one of the ones that's coming.
It won't be spontaneous then, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah. But yeah, if you ever want to, and anybody who's listening or watching, if you're a business here in Hokkaido and we can support you through sharing offers or such, we also want to be that kind of network. Especially right now with Corona, we can't go meet in person. We had been hoping that we could actually go to your bar, which is why we took so long to get you on the show. We were waiting for the numbers to go down and then they spiked again. So
yeah, tell me about
that's why we're doing it this way.
Well, I am having the COVID special, 600 yen pints.
Ooh. Yeah. Well, and I know a local artist, David Sweetlow, is living not too far from you. So I'm sure if we offer something, he would be happy to pop in.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Yeah, so I've seen pictures of the bar and you've got like a wall of beer.
Yep.
Is it really 500 bottles of beer on your wall?
No, it's 5,000.
5,000.
Yeah, just a casual 5,000.
Actually, if you could look at the ladder, right now we're actually cleaning them all up so I could put them online one by one. And that's not all. We also have, this is pretty much lined with cans and stuff.
Oh my
Holy
goodness.
moly.
And then, you go down there and there's more stuff. So yeah, we got about 5,000, give or take a can.
Yeah, so in this 40th anniversary celebration mindset, you've been posting like all kinds of really unique vintage beers and things, and it's been quite fascinating.
I have to be careful. I don't want to put on all American beer, all Japanese beer. So I try to keep it interesting. So actually, I don't know if you know Yara. She fronts a band called Ara. Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, you know Yara. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
We've performed joint shows before.
Okay, cool. Because I was talking with her because I would really like to donate some money to the crisis in Lebanon. And we were actually having a back and forth right now about how we can get money there so it goes straight to the people that need it, And I'd like to donate a few kegs. If somebody could think of a way to have a social distance beer party, and all the proceeds, 100% would go for the charity. But it's the same thing as my 40th anniversary. I don't want people to get sick or anything. So it's something we have to think out really well, and I'd love to do it.
Absolutely. I have people asking me all the time when I'm going to be performing again. And it's like, if it's an outdoor event where there's plenty of space for people to social distance and, outdoor stage, I would totally love to do something, especially if it was like a charity-based event to help a good cause. So people who are listening, if you have some kind of outdoor stage access or might have an idea of where we could host an event where people can properly social distance and keep their senses, even if you're drinking a lot from the kegs. There's a lot of worthy causes right now. And
There.
Yara, who is one of our local Hokkaido artists, is also Lebanese and Canadian, I believe. So yeah, that was really shocking news about the big explosion.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
So today's beer of the day that I'm going to post later will be a Lebanese beer. So.
I see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Phred, where can people be following you or learn more about your business and your bar? Are you doing social media?
I guess, yeah. I guess Facebook, maybe.
Yeah. Facebook is where I usually see you. So you can search for Phred Kaufman.
I try to do Instagram, but it's like, I like Facebook better. But a lot of people they don't do Facebook, they only do Instagram. So it's tough.
Yeah, you have people that are kind of stuck in their vein.
Yeah.
Even me, I can never figure out what the appeal to Twitter is.
Oh no, I don't do Twitter. I mean, I draw the line at some stuff. Yeah.
Right. So Phred, besides being in business and succeeding quite well, it seems, I do remember the first time I met you, and you were dressed up like Santa Claus.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, after you see the beard and everything, it's not a surprise there.
Oh no, I mean, easy role for you to fit into.
Yeah. Well, when I go to orphanages every year.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing it for over 35 years. So when I started, I actually had a black beard, and I had to whiten it up every year, which is really a pain. So one good thing about getting old is less work on the beard when I go to the orphanages. So basically, there used to be 4, and now it's down to 3. So let me see. There are 3. Or now down to 2 in Sapporo, and 1 is out near Kitami, in a town called Engaru.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So every year, I kids at international school help. I get gifts, and I ask my friends for money and stuff, and I contribute a little of my own or a lot of my own. And sometimes we'll have places like Costco contribute too. So the thing is just to give all the kids something with their name on it, so they don't feel that they're just getting random presents thrown at them, So, I figure if you could do something really good once a year, you could be bad for the rest of the time. So that's my philosophy.
Yeah, I've heard of other people trying to do Santa projects and things for local orphanages, but really not that much information about it. So that's something.
Echo is doing it too, and I welcome the competition. I mean, it's something that it's a good thing to do, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I think adoption in Japan is not quite as open as in the States, where most of the kids in orphanages maybe don't really have any opportunity to find a forever home with the way things are done in Japan.
It's really tough here, especially if you were going to put a gaijin into the mix, forget about it. Even Japanese people have a lot. It's really tough for them to adopt. So it's a shame because the same kids have been there from day one to they graduate. So
yeah, for sure.
Happier with family, but hey.
I'm not sure that there's much we can do, as that seems a systematic thing. Just like with the divorce laws in Japan, where one parent gets 100% custody and the other parent, if the relationship is not good between the two, gets completely cut off as well as grandparents. That is something I would love to see change, but it was going to take some...
Get the short end of the stick on that one, that's for sure.
Or the foreigners in many cases. So, but anyway, I was just going to say it's summertime right now. It's just the beginning of August and Obon season, but that gives us some time to actually think ahead towards the Christmas season and how things are going to be. Still locked down a lot with COVID probably for a while, but if anyone listening or watching is interested in helping with this Santa Christmas project for the orphanages here in Hokkaido, please send us a message. We would love to maybe help facilitate. Do you know if there are any
websites or anything like that to donate to? Or
here's the thing: I really don't want to make it into
a big thing,
something that gets away from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right, from the community and things like that.
It's. I just want to have it manageable, and to be honest, I really don't want to even think about it until November.
Sure.
You know? So it's on my
I hear you completely.
I have a little charity box. People put money in, and I have a friend of mine in Kitami that makes jam. So he donates jam to Project Santa. So if you come in and you put some money in the charity box, you can walk away with some really nice jam that's made in Mombitsu. So yeah.
Okay, so that's the deal, people. If you are interested in participating and having some warm fuzzies, helping out Brighton Orphans Days around the Christmas holidays, then visit Phred's Bar, Mugishute, over by, which hotel was it again?
Tokyo XL Hotel.
Tokyo XL Hotel, right next door to that. Sometime around November, December, and you can walk away with some jam.
Have a beer and walk. Yeah, have a beer and walk away with some jam.
We have the jam here all year. I just don't want to, do planning and stuff.
No, yeah. Well, I'm very much in the same vein to keep things manageable. That's why with the podcast, the Anything Goes theme is working really well for us. Not having to plan ahead too much, etc. So anyway, just for people who are listening in a timely manner in August or later in the year or years from now, just know that Phred's Bar does stuff like that. That's really cool. So just pop in
very
and check out what you can be a part of.
Well, is volunteering is not that big in Japan, is it?
No, it's not big at all. I mean, they don't get it. It's cultural. I'm not saying they're good or bad. It's just like, okay, if you pass the hat around and, there'll be some foreigners that don't have a lot of money and they'll put in paper bills, right? And they'll, have these really rich shacho types and, they got the jari, so it's like, I don't know. But it is what it is, as somebody said the other day. So, basically, it's just not a thing here.
Right.
Kind of like tipping is not a thing here as well.
Yeah. So hopefully it will get to be a thing one day.
Well, change happens one person at a time, one mind at a time. So
exactly.
If you have a mind to do something cool like that, we are here to help facilitate.
Great.
Awesome.
Now,
Phred,
just
go ahead,
I guess I want to talk a bit more about beers.
Yeah, I was like,
okay, we can do that.
Yeah. What do you remember your first beer, Phred?
Well, the first memorable beer was probably, when I was in Europe the first time. Heineken had a thing, if you paid a guilder, which is like 100 yen, you could drink all you wanted.
Wow.
That was pretty memorable. So yeah, I sort of started my drinking life in Europe when I was 16. Yeah.
Wow.
Was that the legal drinking age there?
No,
probably not.
Actually, they're not that uptight about it in Europe anyway. I always looked older than I was, so I've never had a problem. Although, like 10 years ago, I was in San Francisco, and this guy actually asked me for my ID. I thought he was kidding, but it was like a
what?
Yeah, because it was a rule, or I don't know. So I don't. Dude, my tie is older than you are. You got to be up and getting. Or I said my beard is older than you, but that was ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah. I'm not upset, but they don't ask me for ID here anymore either. But it's the whole foreigners tend to look older anyway. Oh, yeah. I remember getting in trouble at my part-time job in college when I was waitressing. My manager, had a couple of beautiful Asian ladies order some cocktails, and my manager's like, "Did you card them?" And I was like, "No, I mean, they totally looked overage to me." He's like, because I already had the perspective. I knew that Asians tend to look younger from our perspective. And I kind of conversationally was like, "So, guys, where did you go to college?" They're like, "Oh yeah, we graduated years and years ago." And it's like, see, I knew it was fine. But yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah.
They usually just ask me because when I show up, I'm already tomato-faced because I've been drinking already. So
in Australia, right?
Yeah, in Australia, mainly in Australia. But
they don't really care.
Yeah.
In Japan, they don't really care too much. But it depends where you go. I guess if you go to a top bar or a club and things like that, then they ask you. But if you go to a small bar or izakaya, of course, they don't ask you here in Japan.
The top thing, I think it's more of the club, That's
yes.
anything the establishment perceives as a threat to something, then they check. Period. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clubs and stuff. Yeah.
Shinya, what was your first memorable beer experience?
It's just an Australian beer. It's a classic Australian beer called Tooheys.
Yeah, up there.
Yeah, Tooheys. I think it was an Tooheys. It was just a Tooheys new, I think. When I was 15 or 16, my father just like, oh, you want to have a drink? And I just tried it and I hated it.
Typical.
I think that's for most young people when drinking beer. It just tastes like some sort of medicine or yeasty drink. But now I enjoy a lot of different types of beers, mainly lager. I'm not used to ale beers at the moment. I'm used to the more European, German lagers and Japanese lagers compared to the Australian or I guess other countries' ales. I think America's quite famous for ale as well, same as Australia, but I'm not really used to it yet, so I have to drink more.
Well, actually, when I was in Europe when I was 16, another thing, I mean, the Heineken tour was really nice, but another thing was I was hitchhiking with my brother, and for the first half, and then for the second half, I was on my own, but that's another story. And we would go to a restaurant in Germany or something, and I'd order a Coke, and he'd look at the menu. He said, "Nah, beer is cheaper. Drink beer." I said, "Okay." So yeah.
Wow.
Helped.
Well, Shinya, you mentioned that beer often tastes kind of like medicine or something for people's first experience. And for me, that's exactly what it was. I think I was maybe under 5 years old and I got into a really bad patch of poison ivy. I think I picked a bouquet of it for my mom, who's not allergic, but I'm highly allergic. So I was covered. My eyes were swollen shut, head to toe in itchy poison ivy. And I got some shots at the doctor, and then he said, just give her a half shot of whiskey or something for the pain. But my parents didn't have any hard. I know, this is back in early 80s. My mom didn't have anything like that at home, so she gave me a Little King's beer, which is kind of small, as I recall. And I drank at least half of it, maybe more, and thought it was oh, I'm so adult, it's cool, but I'm not really a big beer drinker. My other early memories are being with my dad, who is into the biker culture. And during summer vacations in Indiana, we would every Thursday have biker party, camping out stuff. And they would have no drinks for kids. It was either water from the outdoor faucet or beer. Not that we were supposed to.
How old were you back then?
Probably 10, 12. That age.
I know it wasn't extra strong.
No, I didn't drink the beer, but it's sometimes you get really thirsty and desperate, and it's just
drinking beer makes it worse, no?
Right. So we didn't drink the beer, but there's nothing for us kids, and I was oh, that kind of turned me off to it, because it smelled we would go through the beer cans and pull the tabs off for the hospitals, the dialysis collections and stuff, and they were all beer cans and stale and icky. So yeah, but my mother would let me have sips of her Kahlua milk and stuff when I was young, and so it was never taboo to drink at my house. And wine coolers, that kind of thing's more me.
Your family was Christian, right?
When I go off camera, it means I'm popping a bottle open here.
Sure, go right ahead.
Me, but he seems to have disappeared.
It's a magic trick, everybody.
So you're a Christian family, right, Delano?
My family?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite religious and Christian, but
alcohol was not a problem?
Yeah, alcohol wasn't a problem in our particular, at least for
household.
My parents. Yeah, household, I guess. It was good because when I was in high school and my friends were drinking and having parties and going nuts, I didn't feel any temptation to drink with them, because if my mom and I went to the store and it's oh, strawberry daiquiri wine coolers, those look good, we'd both split them at home. It was no problem. I never felt drinking was something cool or I needed to hide. So I just watched my friends get drunk and do stupid things. I have never been drunk in my life. Fred's what?
Wow.
You've never drank with Fred then?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
It's just a
Wow.
personal choice. And I actually seem to be quite high tolerance for Japanese, like sake, nihonshu and such. I can't tolerate champagne. It makes me just fall asleep really quickly.
So
But-
you have high tolerance for Nihonshu and you've never been drunk?
Well, I found this out when I was on location a couple winters back for the airport Have Fun in Hokkaido program. We went to Niseko Shuzo Brewery, and they had me 11 in the morning on camera drinking 7 different kinds of sake. And one was one of those wooden masa boxes, and the guy, the owner of the place, was like, filled it halfway, and my director's like, no, all the way to the top, like it's bubbling over.
Yeah, overflow.
Like overflowing, and I'm like I drank half of that on camera, and then like 6 other kinds of sake. I had a little bit of pink in my cheeks, but I was fine.
No buzz.
No. So I some people can't tolerate it at all. For me, otherwise, my general rule since I was a teen is 1 drink per event. That's
Mhm.
not gonna get me drunk. The one time I broke that guideline, I had been working like 2 different part-time jobs from morning to night, eaten nothing all day, and then went out after with my coworkers, and I felt kind of sick to my stomach
Mhm.
until I ate something. But that was also like,
That's
yeah, I'm
normal,
never
that's
doing
normal.
that again. But I've
Is
never
this
really
a
been
business?
buzzed.
This is a business event rule. 1 drink per event.
No, it's just my personal rule, because in the States, you can drive within reason. Like if you've had a drink
Same
and
as
you wait a
Australia.
couple hours. Yeah. So I always figured when I was underage, I would just take a sip of my friend's drinks and then wait an hour or 2 before I tried to drive, just in
Right.
case. And then when I was legal age to drink, 1 drink, and then if I wait the 1 or 2 hours, should be safe. I just figured it would keep me out of trouble.
You're a
But-
safe driver.
I'm
You're
a safety driver, yes.
safety driver.
I
For
have
the most
beer
part.
festival rules actually. So, beer festivals can be really long, right?
Mm.
So when I'm at a beer festival, I just won't drink until the last 2 hours. And it works for me because, if I don't like to drink the daytime because I just get tired later, but the last 2 hours I get really, drink a lot of good beer. And then I got to go out drinking in all the bars and stuff in Tokyo. So that's my rule.
Okay.
Last 2 hours, I drink. Not
All
before.
right. That sounds like something reasonable that could work for you. Of course, if you're in Tokyo, you're probably not going to be driving anyway. It's
It's true.
likely to be public transportation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the problem is after midnight, then there's no public transportation. So you're just like, oh, well, might as well drink until 6 a.m. until
That
the
works.
first train home. That's
That
the
works.
plan, right? Yeah.
I have seen a number of your posts where you have done that. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a normal thing to do, no?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little old for that, but it depends.
Yep.
It's always a plan B, depending on what part of town I'm in, and sometimes you're not even trying to come home on the first train; it just happens anyway. So, yeah.
I agree to that.
It
Yeah.
still baffles me a little bit that with all our modern technology and things that they close the subways. Like, this should be a 24-hour
ridiculous.
system.
Yeah, they were going to sort of make it a little more modern for the Olympics,
Mm.
but yeah, the Olympics never happened. It's ridiculous. If you compare Japan,
Even just a Saturday night, I guess. Just the 1 night a week, maybe.
I mean, you have shift workers. There's rumors that the taxi kyokai has some pull with the government or the Yakuza or something. Who knows? But it makes no sense to me either.
Yeah, I agree with that it's just not sensible. I mean, at least we have some 24-hour stores open these days, but even that's where even the ATMs close at like 7, 8, 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Very few that are open 24-hour access. Gas stations close around 8 p.m. most of the time. It's like, what generation are we in here? So
Yeah.
if you do find yourself...
and then you have restaurants open until 10 a.m. on the Sunday, ramen shops and yakiniku restaurants open up till 10 a.m.
The hours
Sunday
Through the night.
morning. Yep, through the night.
hours are interesting. Yeah.
Well, people have to have a place to hang out if they miss the subways or the trains. So
There are a lot of places in Susukino that are open till 6 or 7. So Susukino's never been a problem.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to, I guess, the alcohol. Back to
Your
the
favorite
alcohol.
subject.
What do you think of Japanese beer, Fred?
Oh God. Okay. Our tastes differ tremendously. For me, lagers are unbelievably boring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm into ales and just interesting beers. They don't have to be high alcohol if they're tasty and interesting, you know. So I import beer from Estonia. That's just fantastic. And Japanese beer, unfortunately, I can compliment Japanese beer if I compare it to American mass-produced beer. Compared to that, Japanese beer is superb.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I guess, yeah.
it's been
I
something
can
that.
understand.
Yeah.
I do remember when I met you, you were playing Santa Claus. You came to a concert. I was performing at a place that is now closed, but it was called Dog of Flanders.
Oh my God! Oh yeah. The dog's slow down though. Okay, that was when I was doing my bad. See, I already told you. When I go to the orphanages, I'm good Santa, and when night time comes, I'm bad Santa. So that when I was going to Walter's place, I was definitely being bad Santa. Yeah.
Yeah, you were. But you gave umaibo or snacks to like all the customers that were there. It was fun. But I do remember with Walter's Place, it was Belgian based. And so I guess he had a lot of Belgian beers on tap. I had some of the most delicious beer ever there. I think one was a Christmas seasonal one or something, but makes me kind of really curious to come and try some things at your place when that becomes
Yeah, well, we only have 300 kinds of beer in the fridge. So.
It would take a while to get through that for me. One per night. But that's very cool. So, Fred, what would you recommend to people that are thinking about?
That must be a hard question, though.
No, it's not. What I hate is when people ask me to give them what I like, because then I have to say, well, number one, you don't know what I like, and number two, what I like is not. So I'm sort of a beer sommelier. So if somebody could tell me like they hate hops or they like this, if they give me a direction, I can bring them to where they want to go probably. So I have to know what the customer likes.
I like fruity kind of accents in my alcohol,
now
so
that's a lot.
Now, I can go and give you a fruit beer.
Ooh.
Sour fruit beers or salty fruit beers or real fruit beers or just maybe something that has that hint of fruit. Like I have tangerine beers and watermelon beers and beers with cherry and chocolate and
Okay, you're selling me on this idea.
Yeah. So and some of them are really light and some of them are really heavy.
Wow, that sounds really like, damn, I want to go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I live really far from any public transportation that's convenient, so I always drive everywhere. And in Japan, it is a big
Yeah, I don't want you
to drink and
drive. No,
drive, even if it's been hours.
No, it's not a good idea. Yeah.
Not a good idea. Be aware, listener, beware.
Right. So I'm all for drinking, but not when you're driving. Yeah,
for sure. Well, I mean, but I could take like a subway, like the last subway, but then there wouldn't be a bus.
Or the first.
Well, yeah. Depends.
When you have a family, it makes it a little harder, doesn't it?
It does make it harder here, and within Japan, or at least Sapporo, Hokkaido, I think it's very hard to find babysitters, or that kind of thing we would do in the West, where if you want to go out and have an adult night. It's just really not done here. I think most people that get in a family situation kind of put their social life on hold for quite a while.
Unless you own a bar, then you have all the excuses you need.
Well, for me, actually, performing out was my excuse previously to like stay out late and enjoy the nomikai after a concert or uchiage or that kind of thing. And I really miss having those opportunities to get out. And also miss being on the stage So we'll see what happens. Outdoor stage people, please.
Actually, if you notice, my eyes have been darting around because I remember you telling me one of your first beer was Little Kings.
Yeah.
You have one.
And
I
it's
would
so
bet
obscure.
but like that's way up on a shelf, so I don't like shelf.
Is Little Kings a light beer? Like a light beer?
I believe it's a light beer.
Do they still make this?
I have no idea. I mean, I haven't seen it since
I don't think they still
I
make
drank it.
To be honest. Yeah. It was pretty light when it existed, yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was quite light beer.
Yeah. And what was your beer from Australia again?
Tui's or
Tui's, right.
I've got VB, Carlton Draft.
I know Tui. Yeah, it's way up there. I'm not going to accent myself.
Okay. Maybe you have a Tui's Old.
Let me see. I'll just take the computer with me. Actually, I have 2 Australian beer sections. I have quite a few of them up there, but I might have some of these over here too. I used to have this huge, okay, here we go.
Crazy amounts.
Now, there we go. Okay.
Wow, that's a very old design.
Yeah. So yeah, usually when somebody comes to the bar and they tell me what their father used to drink or something, I could probably find a can on the wall somewhere.
Damn.
So are all those cans there strictly for decoration purposes?
Oh, no, they've been drank.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
a collection of drank beers.
when you collect beer, you don't put a full beer to rot because it's better to drink it and then put the empty bottle.
So those are mostly those are empty cans and bottles.
Yes.
That makes more sense. I kept thinking, how on earth do you manage your stock of things if you're keeping just one on display?
Oh no!
I get it now.
This is the museum. It has nothing to do with okay, so in the fridge, it's yeah.
See, I just don't drink that much beer, so
They're
this is a new world to me.
60. So these are the beers I produce here. Like the 10% Yakizake, I made that to honor our new 10% sales tax, and mainly this stuff is from Oregon and California, mainly Oregon, and then we get into this is the beer from Estonia, and we have the Belgium stuff, and a little of everything. We got a pretty good mix here, actually.
Yeah, very well stocked.
Yeah. So the stuff in the fridge and the stuff on the walls is sort of a whole different thing there.
What's the oldest beer you have, Phred?
Oh God, probably a lot older than me. I know we have a Schlitz Picnic that's 1934, but I think we have an Australian beer bottle. There it is, from over 100 years old, actually.
Not sure even if I know it. No idea.
I see it.
Maybe the company's still going?
I doubt it.
I have to ask my father or even my grandfather about this.
We're getting quite the interesting history lesson here.
Oh, I mean, history about alcohol is good.
Yeah, this is really old. 1800s or something, I think.
Didn't even know they made beer back in 1800s in Australia.
I think. Well,
Hey, everybody, take a look at Fred's shirt if you're watching on the video.
This is my 40th anniversary shirt, by the way.
Yes, the Aloha shirts. Are those still on order for sale, or
we still have some. So I get a chance at that.
Yeah. So the 40th anniversary for Fred's Bar Hawaiian shirts.
My disappearing bartender came back. That's really good because I was about to go to Hello Work and find the new guy. Okay, anyway. So let me find out how old this bottle is, and I'll go over to a table over there. A little quieter. Australia beer bottle, about 1908. I apologize.
1908, wow.
1908.
Oh yeah, still over 100 years.
Over 100 years though, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, it is 2020, so.
A 100-year-old beer bottle. That's pretty good. Let me change my angle here.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I usually don't have customers this early, so thank you. I had a feeling this might happen. Oh, okay.
We're happy to help.
Oh, this is sort of cool. You know that statue in Suzuki, where Clark, the Boys Be Ambitious? Well,
Yes.
I did my parody here. It's Beers Be Ambitious.
That's nice. So is that the Clark statue in the...
So that's me.
That's you. Wow.
Yeah, that's
How long
me.
ago was that?
Wow.
Oh God. Well, this is like back when my beard was like black.
Okay, so if you
about
wanted to know what
35 years.
black bearded Santa looked like, nicely done though. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, actually, right now, in back of this would be the Sapporo Dome.
Right,
Freedom.
yeah. You can see it from the Hitsujigaoka Observatory where they have the Clark statue. And I spent 10 days between Tokyo and Osaka for my first time here in Japan. And the people in Osaka were like, oh, you're going to Hokkaido, to Sapporo. The boys there are ambitious. And I had no idea what he was talking about. And I was just kind of getting like creepy vibes like, should I be worried? But that is the slogan for the founder of Hokkaido University, I believe.
Right.
So you'll hear that a lot. And you can find that famous statue in some places, but especially there on Hitsujigaoka Observation Hill, overlooking Sapporo Dome. Nicely done.
Cool. Cool. Well, I just checked on the internet. 1862 was they made a brewery in Australia. So actually,
Okay, so
yeah, 1862. Cooper's, Carlton, and even Foster's were in Australia at one point.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go.
So with the whole coronavirus, of course, keeping numbers down for people going out and such, I'm sure that's had an impact on your business.
Oh yeah, no, we were closed for like 6 weeks. We were just closed down completely. I mean, the whole thing about you can open it, like, you had to close at 8, and like we opened at 7, so that wasn't going to work out. So yeah, we just took the hit.
Wow.
And then we changed our operating hours for a while, but now we're just back to normal.
Okay.
So we're open till 3 in the morning. So from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. That's why usually this early, we usually don't have any customers. But thanks to you guys having your podcast, and we're all hoping nobody comes. This is what happens. So yeah, I had ulterior motive here.
See you next week. See you next week for more customers.
Yeah. Good.
So typically here in Sapporo, we have a lot of outdoor beer garden festivals, especially in Odori. And those have basically all been shut down for this year. But I did hear they're having some kind of events. You have to reserve ahead of time.
From last week until end of this next week.
I'm not too happy about that because here's the deal, okay? There are a lot of small businesses and small breweries, and all the big makers, including Sapporo, because their headquarters are now in Tokyo. As far as I'm concerned, they're not a Hokkaido beer anymore financially. So the Sapporo government is giving money to all these people from Honshu and ignoring us local boys. So I'm not too happy about that whole exclusive little one block. And I wanted to get somebody with a food truck and go serve like craft beer, but yeah, people talk me out of it.
Would that be allowed, or like?
Well, it's always easier to say you're sorry than ask permission, isn't it?
Here, especially, I think so.
Oh yeah.
And especially if the person you're asking doesn't have 110% clear answer that it's okay, they're usually going to tell you no as a safeguard. So sometimes it is better to say sorry than to ask for permission.
There used to be a charity beer festival at the Hokkaido International School, and that's not being done this year. They used to have the craft beer festival in Bankei. That's not being done, so it's sort of sad.
Yeah. So you just mentioned the charity event at the Hokkaido International School. That would be the Bear Beer Festival, right?
Yes.
And
that's been
you
for
were
a few years.
Yeah, I performed there
Yes, you have.
4 times maybe, I think. And happy to participate that. I think a lot of that went towards scholarships.
No, all of it. Okay, when I say all of it, you got to be careful what you say because there's some people out in La La Land. What do you mean that you actually are taking money home? I thought all the money was going to charity. No, the vendors actually get paid for, it's like 20% goes to charity and 80% is for the vendors. But out of the 80%, they're also paying, for the location, this and that and the other. So believe me, nobody's making a lot of money.
Well, and the musicians are making zero.
Exactly.
So when the musicians volunteer, it actually is completely
fully
volunteer.
100%.
And all the people that the executive board chips in, and a lot of people work for free. It's going to scholarships, So, yeah, like usually beer here would be like 800 yen, and so I'm selling it for 500 yen, 20. So I'm selling at half price, So I'm not making money, but it's going,
It's still worth, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't complain about that.
It is a charity event.
Right. So I do think our international community here in Hokkaido does a lot to promote these kind of charity events and things that you normally wouldn't find in the culture here, perhaps. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but my experience has been mostly with the international community heading up these kind of things.
I agree with you.
And so far on this program, because again, not to say I want to be lazy, but I want to be sustainable on what we can do, we've just been focusing on English. However, I've always thought it would be really nice to also have people on the show who maybe don't speak English fluently, or, we're not trying to be exclusive for only foreign people in our community. It just happens to be the easy way for us right now.
Right.
So do keep an eye out and ear out in the future that I've got a lot of like local Japanese musicians or business people or international couples that we would love to have on the show down the line. But for now, we like to focus on our English speaking podcast. So it's nice to see what the international community is contributing here. Phred, you've been all over and you've been in Hokkaido and Japan a very long time. Besides the very nice weather, what's another reason that you have made Hokkaido your home?
Well, okay, basically, it's the size, because it's sort of a city, but it's sort of the country. And I think it has the best points of both. So if you're in a big city, it's like concrete and no greenery, and and if you're in the country, it's like, okay,
nothing there.
I can't hear another fox, another cricket. I'm getting bored now. So here you could pretty much just, find a lot of restaurants and shopping and entertainment and whatever. But then again, if you want some greenery, just get in your car and drive for 10 minutes. So I live between Bankei and Maruyama, so I'm basically in the woods.
Yeah, that's a nice area. I think especially because it's like by the mountains. One of the things I love about Sapporo is on a really clear day, if you can get a place to view it, mountains completely surround the city. And you're not far from water, from the ocean. And even in the city, like the Maruyama mountain and Asahiyama, like there are mountains right here in the middle of the town. So
I live on a mountain, so yeah.
Yeah, if you enjoy hiking or just being in parks, even Odori, which is a lot of concrete and stuff, is still gorgeous with the Lilac Festival and the red colors in the fall and fountains.
Yeah,
you're just really blessed like that.
They're really distinct, and that's really nice. Yeah.
For sure. It's a metropolis with the small town feel.
Yeah.
So that's
definitely
what makes this a great city.
And the food is just so good. I'm a big Hokkaido food chauvinist. Like, these guys came in my bar the other day. I think, well, they were sort of, okay, they were from Osaka, Team International. So one of them, was a vegetarian, which is cool. Nothing against vegetarians. But like they went to Urushiri and they didn't have any uni. I'm going, huh? Oh, okay, the one guy couldn't eat uni, but I think, Yeah, you went to Rishiri and you didn't have any. So they were leaving the next day. So I took a video on them and I took them out. I had to get this guy some uni because, I mean, it's so good. If you have uni in Hokkaido and you don't like it, then you really don't like uni. But if you've had it in Japan and you have it here, it's so much better. Yeah, the food here is just superb. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think everyone agrees to that.
Yeah, that's just undisputed. So very happy to talk about food on the program. It's just not the main thrust because that's covered on all the podcasts and YouTubers. But speaking of uni, for people who maybe don't know the vocabulary, it's sea urchin, those really spiky things that most people would look at and say, you eat that. But yes, it's delicious if you have a taste for it. It was one of the few foods that I really did not like for quite a while because like at New Year's, our family would get the really gorgeous sushi sets and there'd be maybe one sea urchin sushi for each person. And I would try it and it tasted like licking the bottom of the ocean floor as far as like texture and the fishy.
Hokkaido.
Well, I mean, yeah, we were buying the sushi here. However, I think it's just because of New Year's time, there's such a high demand that maybe things get quality-wise a little bit on the low side.
It's like sweet. It's not licking the bottom of the pool at all.
Yeah, so after trying it a few times and just being like, this is going to be one of the few foods I have to put on my don't like list, we went to Otaru and had like super fresh sea urchin, and they put a whole platter of it right next to my seat at this big event. And I ended up eating almost all of it. And it's like butter, it melts in your mouth.
Oh, good.
And now I can even eat the really crappy stuff. Like
I'm glad you came around,
Yeah, that and like ikura, the salmon roe.
The salmon roe.
The first few times somebody tried to feed me that, it was more like sujiko, which is it's still got all the netting and stuff around it. And it's not very good texture-wise, and maybe it doesn't have a lot of flavor added to it. But after you get a good taste of like quality stuff, it's like you can't go back. And you were mentioning Rishiri, Reibun, those are the most farthest northern islands. And the sea urchin there is fantastic. I can attest. I was filming there last summer, just about this season. And I got to like crack open my own sea urchin and eat it fresh. And I had sea urchin every day for like 5 days they were on vacation.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Pricey too, but this is a good season for it.
Oysters also, like if you like oysters, there's a place in Susukino, and they're not, I call them the daiso of oysters. They used to be 100 yen. I think they're up to 150, but still. And they're cheap and fresh and great.
Are they really big oysters typically?
Yeah, they're from Akeshi oysters.
Okay, yeah, because I went to college on the east coast of North Carolina near the Outer Banks. And in America, that might be one of the best places to get oysters, I think. And there was an oyster bar, and get a whole like peck of steamed oysters, put them on a sea wafer, and dip them in the different sauces and drawn butter. And then I came here and I had oysters that were not quite that quality, so I'm a little biased on that side. But yeah, I would love a good oyster. So maybe.
Okay, well, next time if we ever, if I ever show you around,
Yeah, that would be fun when. Yeah. It's safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But yeah, maybe we can get some names and link those in the episode for people who are.
Google. Actually, I was a reporter for a CNN Go Up episode that was in Susukino. So one of the places I went to was the oyster place, Gotsugo.
That's really cool. So you've been a reporter for CNN.
Yeah, and NHK in the old days,
Yeah, I've done NHK World a couple of times as well in more recent days.
Thanks for showing off, guys.
Of course, what else were we going to do?
Not go on the news.
What else have you done in your time here besides running your own beer business? And playing Santa Claus?
I mean, if you put it that way, what have I done?
What haven't you done, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had to go through my bump as an English teacher when I first got here, and when I was 18 years old, I actually worked in a beer bar in Susukino. You know where the McDonald's is? On the game section? Well, there's a place in the basement called Aburia. And in 1971, it was called Lorelei. And it was a German beer hall.
Okay.
Since my last name was Kaufman, they thought, oh, he's German, great. Yeah. So I go there, and I couldn't understand a word of Japanese, but they had these huge, the kegs were not aluminum. They were these huge wooden kegs that were really heavy. They weren't huge, they were just heavy. So I was the official keg lifter. So that was an interesting job. I found out that if you poured customers really heavy whiskeys, they liked you a lot. So
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, so
Well,
I've had my little doing this and doing that. Yeah.
for sure. Well, Phred, it's been a pleasure to finally get you on the show. We've been trying this for quite some time. And people, if you, as we say, anything goes on this show. So if you feel it's safe to be out and about, we're not going to judge you for that. Just do your best to take care of yourself and people.
I have a mask, so you know. Hey.
Right. Okay. He's got masks. I'm sure there's hand sanitizer somewhere there.
No, there is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, wash your hands, gargle, wear your masks, and
we've been social distancing for 40 years.
Really?
Yeah, we're just not that busy.
Gotcha. Okay. So check out Phred's bar, Mugi Shute, and we are really happy that you're part of our community. And we know there are other stories that are not related to beer exactly that maybe we can talk with you down the line with. But again, people, Christmas stuff coming up later in the year. When coronavirus is calmed down, there will be beer festivals and there will be all kinds of opportunities to check out what Phred does here. Okay, any last words for our audience, Phred?
Thank you for bringing me all these customers that usually wouldn't be here so early. So,
our pleasure.
Yeah, I have to, because I usually wouldn't be here this early either. That's really funny. Just thank you for listening. And yeah, if you're in Hokkaido, yeah, you're lucky.
Yes, we certainly are.
Yep.
Okay, Phred, thank you. You've been a great guest. Everybody, you can find us as always. Email anythinggoeshokkaido@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, not actively, just through our, we're on Twitter, but not actively through our Instagram accounts. Those handles are @anythinggoeshokkaido. And Shinya, you're basically on Instagram at Shinsta_grams. I'm at Mark Delana Miyazaki on everything but Facebook. Facebook is Delana Live. And maybe YouTube as well. Okay, people, thank you so much once again. We wish you the best. Shitake.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
As always, we wish a huge thank you to everyone who makes this audio and video podcast possible. We are happy to be back after a bit of a long break through the Obon holiday season. Please remember to stop by our Patreon account for special things, and if you would like to support us by being on the show or being a business partner, just hit us up with our email, Instagram, or Facebook account. Can't wait to see you next week, and goodbye.